All right, fellas. Time to dream a little dream. Patrick Johnson, you guys good to kind of get a little weird for the rest of the year? You guys okay with that? I kind of was thinking a little bit about Anthony Kim winning and how 2, 3, 4 years ago, if I'd have told either of you guys Anthony Kim's going to win some golf tournament, making these crazy putts down the stretch, no matter if it was Live or the Corn Ferry or PGA Tour or whatever, I don't think anybody would have believed it. Which got me thinking, what other things could happen this season that I think would get us and the non-golf world excited? And so, Patrick, I'm going to start with you in terms of anything that could happen in pro golf. I mean, you could take one of the guys that are one win away from a slam, Rory going back-to-back at Augusta. Nelly Korda going crazy in the LPGA in terms of major championships. What do you think is kind of a dream for you in the pro golf world?
So it's pretty tame, which I know you're probably disappointed with coming to me first. But I'm looking holistically here at the PGA Tour season and the signature events in particular. We were promised a bill of goods about how the best player in the world are all playing alongside each other and how they're going to be dueling down the stretch of these tournaments more often. And, for one reason or another, like we haven't seen Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy go head-to-head since the 2022 Tour Championship.
No duels.
You look at the guys who have kind of dueled in these big events. It's been okay, like Scheffler Griffin, that's great, or Fleetwood Bradley at the Travelers, or Bobby Mack and Scheffler at the BMW, Rose and Spahn at St. Jude Championship. That's all fine and dandy, but I need to see something that we haven't seen, and whether that's Rory and Scotty at the peak of their powers going head-to-head on Sunday, or maybe you throw in a Jordan Spieth back in there, or Ricky Fowler, or Justin Thomas. Now we're really dreaming. Those are pipe dreams with the way some of those guys are playing, but just seeing the fan favorites, the big names, the elite of the elite go head to head on the biggest fields at the biggest events is something that the signature events have yet to produce, in my opinion. And I hope we get it a couple times this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend is one of those instances.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick, I was thinking about kind of moments, if you will, where the biggest names are going at it. I mean, what was that playoff a few years ago with it was DJ and Rahm, and they both made the lengthy putts? Like, that's kind of where my head goes. The duel in the sun
was COVID.
A long time ago, right? Yeah, I mean, that was 2020, 2021. I mean, you're talking 5-6 years ago when that went down. I mean, Rahm obviously doesn't play on the PGA Tour anymore. I mean, it seems like you don't get this that often, Johnson. I mean, we would beg all the time for Phil Tiger, right? Let's see if Phil and Tiger can go at in a major championship. We got a taste of it at times, but never that moment like Watts and Nicklaus. And I do wish we got a little bit more of that because tennis gets it all the time. Obviously, you get it in the NBA a lot, occasionally in baseball, but rarely do we get to see it in golf. Where are you going, Johnson? What is a dream you're hoping to see this season in golf?
Well, it was from the year 2000 to the year 2025 before we saw anybody complete the career Grand Slam after Tiger. And before that, you've got to go way back as well. And we are living in this incredible moment where we have Jordan Spieth now since 2017 going for the career Grand Slam at the PGA Championship. I don't think he's going to get it done at Aronimink. I think it's going to be next year at PGA Frisco that he gets it done in his hometown. But I think Scotty Scheffler, if we could have back-to-back seasons of people winning the career Grand Slam, I just think there's nothing like it. And for Scotty to do it first attempt on his birthday, the stars are aligning. It's one of my favorite golf courses in the world, possibly my favorite U.S. Open venue, Shinnecock Hills. I just think that it wouldn't get any better for me than that. And then if you think about Rahm and Xander and the other guys that have two majors that are different majors, I mean, in the next 10 years, we could have 4 or 5 guys completing this career Grand Slam, which I think is an unbelievable accomplishment and speaks to the true overall quality of a player's game.
No Phil mentioned there. You don't think Phil's going to go qualify for the U.S. Open or anything? You just said we're writing that off, you think?
At Shinnecock.
He's had a couple good chances at Shinnecock. Maybe he could.
He's had both moments at Shinnecock. Let me just say that. We've seen the good and the bad from Phil there. I was kind of along the same line as you, Johnson. I was thinking about Jordan Spieth. I was thinking about the PGA. I just don't see it happening. I love the fact that you're throwing Frisco out there. I'd love to see it happen. That would be a dream scenario next year for sure, and especially with the lineup of the majors next year. I mean, you got Pebble and St. Andrews and Augusta. Having that happen at Frisco would be huge for the PGA Championship. I'm going to go a different way with Jordan, though. I want to see Jordan get back in the hunt at Augusta. I want to see Jordan Spieth play another great 4 days, 3.5 days at the Masters. And to Pat, I'm taking a little bit of both of you guys' pieces here because I would love to see Spieth versus Rory, Spieth versus Scotty, kind of old Texas, new Texas going at it at Augusta National. You know, we got a glimpse of this in 2016. If you remember Rory and Jordan final pairing on Saturday, that's when Rory shot 77 and didn't make a birdie. And that was the famous, how the hell's this guy 2 under, when he looked at Jordan on like 12 or 13. At that point, Rory couldn't believe the way he was playing, considering where he was hitting the golf ball. But getting some Jordan in the mix at Augusta once again. I mean, there was a time, Patrick, where we thought this was going to be who Jordan Spieth was. He was never not going to have a great Masters. And it's been what is it, probably been since, was it the Patrick Reed Masters, the last time he was really seriously in the hunt to maybe win?
Oh gosh, and that took a magical final round, even for him to get into that mix, right? And gosh, if Patrick Reed didn't hit the flagstick there on 17, Jordan doesn't hit the tree branch on 18. My first stop at Augusta this past year, Shane, you'll like this. First time going to Augusta National was to see that tree off 18, just to see what happened there in 2018.
True,
point up to it.
Sicko move there.
Yeah. Took a picture with it with my finger pointing at it. But yeah, it's been a while. He had that, what was that, 23, when him and Phil in the final round kind of fed off each other and both shot something in the mid 60s when Rahm won, I believe. But yeah, really no great chance since 18. And 18 even was a little bit of a far cry. It took something just magical on Sunday.
Yeah, it would be fun. I mean, again, I just feel like if you think about Jordan Spieth in terms of a major championship, the Open might play into his hands as well, depending on where they play it, maybe next year at St. Andrews. But for me, obviously, it's worked so well at Augusta in the past. It would be fun. Anything else? Anybody got anything else that maybe was like a secondary dream that you jotted down that you were hoping for? I mean, I'd love to see Nelly win another major this year. I think that would be huge for the LPGA and for women's golf, just to see her get back in the mix in that space. I'd like to see Rahm make a run at a major. I mean, you think about what he did at the PGA last year. That's kind of the only time we've seen him pop at a major since he joined LIV. I mean, Rahm having this long stretch of no major wins, I think is not great for professional golf. He was one of those guys. But Johnson, anything else besides obviously kind of what you touched on that you'd love to see? I mean, just something special happening?
I think we're going to get a press conference out of Brian Rolap next week at the Players Championship, and I'd like to see some clarity in the PGA Tour schedule going forward. I think it's been pretty widely speculated that he'd like to have this tier system on the PGA Tour. I'd like to have some clarity. Are we going to see that in 27? Are we going to see playoff events move to the West Coast? I think everything schedule-wise for the Tour is so up in the air, and I'd like to know what's actually going to happen.
That's a good one. See, that's why you go back to Johnson Wagner. That's why he's a pro. He just did radio for like 2 hours and he's just still humming. You know, he's still throwing 95 in the 7th.